Okay, next, discussion items, seeing none, public hearings. We'll go on to number 11, ordinance resolutions and request for action. A, Rheem Boulevard sinkhole construction contract. And Edric, do you have a report?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the Town Council. My name is Edric Kwan, and I am your Public Works Director. It's been a long time since the incident of the sinkhole. The day before my birthday, I got a nice gift, a big hole dropped in the ground. And since then, we've been working very diligently to get through this very burdensome, lengthy federal process to get all of the approvals to be where we're at today. It took a lot of effort from many different agencies, utility companies, elected officials on the county level and the state as well, and the support. And all of that really assisted us in order to garner those funds that we desperately needed. That said, on May 15th of this year, FHWA provided us the authorization to move forward with bidding the project. We went through and had 2 mandatory pre-bid meetings. We had 10 contractors attend, prospective contractors, and finally, when the bid opening occurred, we received 4 bids. Of the bid amounts, it ranges from the low bid at 1.32 all the way to 2 million. The engineer's estimate is right in the middle at 1.7, and that's a good thing because that's how we like to do it in the engineering world. So that said, we evaluated McGuire and Hester as a very well-known contractor that has done work like this before, and we know that they've addressed situations like this for other agencies too. So we're very excited to deem them as the lowest, most responsive, and responsible bidder. That said, I'd like to request of council to award a construction contract in the amount of $1,320,700 for the construction of the sinkhole repair project at Rheem Center. Execute contract change orders up to 15% of the contract amount and reduce the project budget by $331,000. We also have in our presence Mike Anderson, and he's the pipeline operations manager, and Jeremy Hynum, the senior estimator from McGuire and Hester. In knowing that this is such a high publicized project, they're here to answer any questions you may have. When construction starts, we've been very diligent in adding to the specifications many different provisions to try to promote our local businesses as much as possible. In the staff report, it does detail that information. With that, I'm open to any questions.
Okay, questions of staff. Dave.
Thank you, Edric, and thank you for that report. It's actually good news, given that the bid came in below the engineer's estimate. I have some questions. Based on the staff report, the staff report indicates that this will take 77 working days and be completed before October, by the end of September. Is that the plan?
That is the goal, correct.
Okay. Which of course is close to the beginning of the rainy season, depending on your definition of when the rainy season starts. It's either October 15th, October 1st, and there are 2 different schools of thought on that. And we wouldn't want this to be, have this project be impacted by weather. Is there provisions in this contract that would penalize the contractor if they, for some reason, didn't get it done before the end of September?
It's very common for our contracts to also include liquidated damages if they do go beyond the working days. Obviously, we can't control nature, and when rain does come through, we do know that that's a rain dare, and they're excused for that. But to really ensure that we try to get through all of this as fast as possible, there is Saturday work and extended hours. We understand the impact of this since Rheem will be closed, and we want to get in and get out as soon as possible. So we're doing everything we can in this contract to help the contractor expedite, be there, and be able to perform and get the work done.
So, and that Saturday work and all that other will reduce the total amount of construction time from project start to finish. So what you're telling us is that there are liquidated damages if they don't get this thing done, and there's no excuse. As far as I can tell, the only excuse here that would be a weather excuse, and we don't expect to have much rain in that time frame, so we should be good to go, right?
That is correct.
All right. Looking at the discussion of what's reimbursable versus what's not reimbursable. I was interested in it. I was aware for example, that the original emergency opening work was 100% reimbursable. And then we had to go further, and we had to, because of delays, we had to winterize, spend money to winterize the hole for the last winter. Is that also reimbursable? Because it wasn't clear from the report which category that winterization work was in.
Correct. So I argued with Caltrans to explain to them that if I'm not to winterize this pipeline, I will not let traffic cross it because it would be considered dangerous in my opinion. And so I would have to shut the road down again. And with emergency opening funds, the intent is to restore traffic. So my point to them is I have to winterize it in order to open the traffic, which makes it fall under the emergency opening funds.
And has Caltrans agreed with that?
Yes.
So that winterization cost is within the approximately $500,000 that's, let me get to the right page here. Thank you, the approximately $642,000 that'll be 100% reimbursed.
That is correct.
Okay. One last point. You indicate that there's a reduction in the project budget, and you're proposing to split that reduction between the Palos Fund and the general fund, but this council could actually direct that it be all reduced from one fund or the other. For example, it could all, that budget reduction could be credited back entirely to the Palos Fund, for example, if it were the direction of this council.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Kimberly?
Edric, the thing that jumped out at me is there was a little bit of confusion for me as to exactly which part or parts of Rheem Boulevard were going to be physically closed off so that no traffic was allowed through. Could you please describe for us exactly where the barriers are going to go so we have a clear understanding of what that's about?
Sure. It would be at the intersection of Rheem and Center. It's not going to impact Moraga Road. It's not going to impact the access for the businesses there as well. So it's all within that portion. There's that little leg that crosses through Center. We're going to close that, and that serves as a really nice staging area as well. So it shouldn't reduce any access for any of the businesses or traffic on Moraga Road. But unfortunately, we are having to close that intersection. The pipe does span across the entire width, and we are, based on feedback from the business communities, when we first initially closed the intersection, there was concerns about traffic going through the centers. And so I heard very clearly that piece, and so it's not part of the detour routing this time around. If I had to pursue that, it would have also added additional time to gain all the access rights and negotiations. And quite frankly, I want this job done this year as directed by council, and I was not willing to negotiate and have an unknown on when we can get that right-of-way piece completed. So that said, we are delivering it now to get it constructed.
And if you're on Rheem Boulevard and you're at this end of Rheem Boulevard, the blockage is not going to come far enough down to interfere with drivers going in and out of the shopping centers on both sides from this side, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, any other questions?
No, Edric and I talked about all this.
Okay, yes, good report.